Let's listen to this Supreme Court case about party bosses in basically Brooklyn or New York City. This is really good.
The final point is, it's important to emphasize this is a challenge on its face to the statute that simply creates a delegate election and then it creates a convention. Neither of those provisions can possibly be constitutional. And so what the respondents are complaining about is what party bosses do. But on page 38 of their brief, they state categorically that the constitutional offense is not the fact that party leaders act as one would expect in choosing nominees. In other words, party leaders act like party leaders and exercise their influence. They're not saying that that's unconstitutional. What they're saying is that a statute that allows party leaders, to be constitutional, to act in ways which are not only permissible under the Constitution, as they acknowledge, but constitutionally protected, is somehow constitutional. That simply is not consistent with any of this court's jurisprudence, which says that political parties must have the maximum opportunity to select their leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Olson. The case is submitted.
Wow. I think that last statement he meant is somehow unconstitutional, I think, right here. I think that, but I'm not sure. But he's basically saying that the political parties, and the Supreme Court justices also are saying that if you want to fight the system, you got to build a enormous system too, right? The Constitution doesn't say that you have the right to win. So it's a slow process. The way the judges are picked seems ludicrous, but these people are entrenched and they got to where they are by fighting and fighting and fighting, and you have to fight the same way they fought if you want to be influential. Now, this judge who brought the case, I wonder what happened to her. Lopez. But this is a Supreme Court case that said, look, I personally think that the issue is that we have a one political party, or whatever you want to call it. We have one, especially North Brooklyn and most of Brooklyn, it's one political group that rules. That is a big problem. Now, the system of first past the post, or whatever they call it, the winner take all, that creates in and of itself a dominant, supposedly two-party system, but it doesn't always do that. Sometimes it creates I guess in the extreme case, a one-party system. And that's what we have here in Brooklyn, North Brooklyn, and a lot of New York City. But some people blame it on this winner-take-all system. And here is the fundamental flaw that people don't talk about in this case, is they say, well, what's the big deal? Just fight the way they fought and get in. And of course, I understand the Supreme Court cannot say that entrenched leadership or corruption, they can't say that just because they have entrenched leadership and they're using their party bosses and their influence, that's unconstitutional. They can't say that. But what we can see is that the party system is essentially corrupt, and what it does is it perpetuates itself, right? And what they're not seeing is that the constituency, when they go in for an election, they usually don't know, meaning in general, like on average, they don't know all the candidates. They don't know a lot of things, right? But what they do know vaguely in the back of their mind is Democrat Party, right? That's what they know. And so they just vote that line. They don't even line. That's what they call it. I don't like even calling it. But they just vote for whoever is there. And that's the big elephant, in my opinion, that no one's talking about. Is what we really should do is get rid, on the election, get rid of the party, right? It could have names, but just get rid of these party. And the person can be part of the party, that's okay. And if the voter knows, but it shouldn't be written on the ballot, because that would require people to know names. And I think the entire thing is on its head, reversed on its head, because I think what should happen is the community comes together and agrees on their values, and they hire someone to execute them. We shouldn't be listening to these candidates, what they think. It should be what the community thinks, right? And then you have names, and it could even have community names, like this was endorsed by this community and that community. But it should be a large number. It should not be 2 or 1. Think about what happens here in North Brooklyn, or in a lot of places. The general election is state senator, vote for 1, and there's 1 choice. State assembly, vote for 1, and there's 1 choice. Vote for civil court judge, vote for 6, and there's 6 choices. Or it's even worse, the same name is repeated all over the ballot. Republican, so-called X, Democrat, the same X, so-called Working Families Party, the same X, whatever. I guess these parties are coming and going. That is the root of the problem, is people blindly vote whatever party they blindly vote for, and that is not addressed here at all in this court case, which I guess it couldn't be, because there's no way to address that. No one has standing for that, because it's very expensive to get to the Supreme Court. Peace out.